from the third dimension.
This is 3D or 2D.com's Duh 3D Show.
Put on your 3D glasses now.
If you're wondering what the 3D stand for, they are discussion, debate, and the news. We hope that you enjoy the show. Get it? The show? Welcome to the first Duh 3D Show of 2021, episode 96. I'm Adolf Vega, and with me is Classic Jake.
Howdy, folks.
And we got quite a few topics to talk about today. Any specific ones you want to start off with first, Jake?
Well, let's start off with the delays.
Yeah. So, COVID is still here. We are new year and new president, but COVID is still here, and there is a vaccine, and it's slowly trickling out. But a lot of movies have gotten delayed. I guess they're not feeling that they could really make enough money to justify releasing it.
Yeah, they're not even going to think about even consider opening theaters where I'm at until April.
I haven't even bothered to check. I could check now, but I don't really care about going into the theaters for a non-3D movie right now. So it's just kind of, for me, I don't really care. I could watch stuff at home, So, so here are the movies. Now, some of these movies, we weren't really sure if they were going to be 3D. We kind of assumed as much, but you never know with nowadays if it's going to be 3D or not. Some of these movies may have been 3D if they released outside the US, so we'll see. But Peter Rabbit 2 was scheduled for April of 21. Now it's June 11th, 2021. Now, I have zero interest in Peter Rabbit 2.
Yeah, I'm like, why aren't they doing another Paddington Bear?
I haven't seen Paddington good.
Oh, they're good. The second one's really good, but they're a lot better than these Peter Rabbit movies.
Yeah, the Peter Rabbit movies look really kiddie, like really basic, nothing all that for adults, and
and they don't even look charming. They just look like crap.
Ghostbusters was June 11th to now November 11th. Ghostbusters Afterlife, which we're both kind of hesitant on, right, Jake?
Yeah, on paper it sounds like a great concept, but that trailer, I was like, this is supposed to be a comedy? There wasn't a single laugh in it.
It gave off a lot of vibe of the Netflix show Stranger Things, but it just didn't have Ghostbusters kind of thing in there. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look as bad as 2016 Ghostbusters, but definitely does not look good. And we didn't.
Yeah, it was nostalgia porn. It's like, watch me because you loved the first one.
Now, we didn't know if that was a 3D movie either. We assumed as much because 2016 was. And just Sony is behind it, and Sony's pretty good about releasing movies in 3D.
Except on home video.
Except at home. But, now next up is Uncharted, which is another Sony property based on the video game franchise. That got pushed out of 2021 altogether.
Yep.
Which, was a prediction that, for me, that last year, for 2020 and 2019, I predicted that Uncharted would not come out in 2020, and then now it's not coming out in 2021 either. So who knows when it's really going to come out now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only good news is Godzilla vs. Kong's been moved up to March 26th.
Yeah, we're supposed to get a trailer for that, right? I don't know.
Yeah, they're saying Sunday, the day after we're recording.
Oh, that's a good segue. We are recording this on January 23rd, 2021 at approximately 1:51 p.m. Central Standard Time. As you may know, some things may change as you're listening to this podcast. And by the time we record and upload it, things may change. So we'll do what we can to cover the news, but it's a moving target, and every time we try to record, something pops up a day after or a week after, and it is what it is. So, Godzilla versus Kong. I think there's been little snippets here and there of them fighting the lightning or strike or something. I don't know if you've seen a teaser for that or no.
All I've just seen is a few really blurry set pictures and announcements for the trailer.
No, we both liked the second Godzilla movie, or actually, I like both. I like all the movies in this franchise. I think Kong is the best of them all.
Yeah, I really liked Kong a lot. I mean, the Godzilla King of the Monsters was good too, but Kong was my favorite. It's been my favorite so far.
Kong Skull Island is just fun, and they had a lot of playfulness with the 70s in there, and they made Kong into a threatening, huge creature, and it worked. It worked a lot better than I was thinking it was going to.
Yeah, it was just so cool, and the 3D was so good, and it's just a blast.
And the Godzilla movies, the first Godzilla was slow, but I did like it. Second Godzilla movie with King of the Monsters was almost all action, which cool, but I was still kind of disappointed that the story was really bad, and it's okay, whatever.
Yeah, they could have skipped the whole family drama in King of the Monsters. I mean, that was just
And another movie here, got a date switch, Morbius. So this was October. It was last year, 2020. Then it got moved to this year, and then it got moved to October of this year, which then gave me an accurate prediction because I said Morbius would be delayed, and then it got delayed a day after that to next year, and then it's January 21st. So it's you're gonna put it in the January doldrums of 2022. Yikes!
Yeah, that's usually where they put movies to die.
So
that's showing me Sony doesn't have much faith in this movie, or they figure comic boy fanboys will flock anyway, and it doesn't matter when they release it. They just might go, F it. Everything's a mess. We gotta release it, and the schedule's free.
yeah, I mean, in some regards, I think a lot of movies nowadays it doesn't really matter when they release as long as they get released. If it's not too crowded, it should make money back. But if it's not, if it's some movies, it doesn't really matter if it's a January or if it's a summer or if it's a fall or whatever release. It's just if people want to see it, people want to see it. Or back in the day, back in the late 20th century, oh well, it's not a summer release that's gonna bomb. It's now, nah. It depends on who's making it and all that scenario. But if Marvel Cinematic Universe wanted to release a movie in mid-January, you better believe they'll make money.
Yeah. I just figure it's going to get delayed again.
We haven't seen anything since that first trailer, and it did not look all that good, at least that I remember.
I thought it was okay. It just was a basic trailer.
I mean, are they trying to are they doing reshoots to kind of get them into the Spider-Verse kind of thing, or is this partially because of the Spider-Verse? Because the Spider-Man 3, which we'll get to in a minute, is supposed to come out this Christmas season. So is Morbius going to be okay, we're going to connect it all together kind of thing? Maybe that's why they're doing that. I can understand that they want to release it after Spider-Man, but it was always kind of wishy-washy if the Venom, Spider-Man, Morbius kind of Sony properties would really gel that well into the MCU besides Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, I imagine that is part of the negotiations between Sony and Disney/Marvel.
It's also interesting that we don't see like new trailers for most of these stuff. You might as well show off a trailer if you have something. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you'll probably get mega views for it because what else are people going to do right now?
Yeah, it's a weird January because like some TV shows are coming back. I don't know if you noticed this, but like some TV shows that I watch are coming back. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this show. It's been like 6 months since I watched the last episode of like a Batwoman season 2 started like a week or two ago, and recast Batwoman and um yeah, it's one of those things where they got back to, it was supposed to be last fall, but that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised any shows are coming out because I can't believe anybody's trying to film in this mess. I mean, but all I do, it seems like once a week I hear a story about a film being shut down because the cast and crew got COVID.
And, so these are the main ones we know about. There's a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumors about other movies getting delayed that basically it's going to be an avalanche, and they're just kind of waiting and seeing how things are going. But there's been a lot of rumors about Black Widow moving out of 2021 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Yeah, but there's also lots of rumors that it's gonna go like Mulan, it's gonna become you rent it and pay like $30 to rent it. Then there's also wild rumors that they're gonna do day and date with Disney Plus.
So yeah, that's where it gets interesting because it's one thing, do they just go ahead and just move on and or delay it again, or do they just say bite the bullet and put it on Disney Plus Premier Access for $30 or $20 rentals, and then get what they can and move on. I don't know, because if you do put it on, if you have it digitally available, it's going to be pirated pretty quickly.
Yeah, but so is everything else. But hey,
Try to make it not as easy to pirate, but yeah, it's one of those things that it's hard to tell, and I think a lot of this is just seeing the numbers of COVID and around the world and in America just keep going up and up and up and up, and it's just apparently maybe we hit the peak, quote unquote, but I mean that might be the peak from all the holidays that just passed, the people gathering, and then now it's starting to calm down, but I don't know for sure. And there's just Hollywood and other theaters and other studios are just kind of seeing lay the land and be like, okay, I don't think that my movie will make $100 million for opening weekend or $1 billion a year. So why release it now and let it be sacrificed to oblivion, or I could just wait and have it later because I know Bond got delayed, right, as well, but that's not a 3D movie, or not here at
yeah,
least.
yeah. Um, just I think there's a lot of guys trying to make decisions in the old world, and I really think movie m- movie theaters are not going to die completely, but the day of being able to make money running a crappy movie theater have passed. Uh, because streaming is for most people far cheaper than going to the movies, uh, and it's far more convenient.
And people don't care that much. I mean, I'm sorry, the theatrical experience has been diminished, and there's no guarantee that you go to a theater and you have a great time anymore. That might have been the case, but it really hasn't been a guarantee anymore.
Yeah, and it is. And now for under a grand, you can have yourself a home theater that rivals a lot of movie theaters.
So a lot of this is connected to politics and how the numbers are and if they feel comfortable with it. I know we don't want to really go into politics that much in the podcast, but we kind of have to. I just read that Biden administration has taken over, and now they see that there was no plan at all for getting the virus in control, to get the vaccine distribution. Zero plan. So they had to build it from scratch. And they're trying to do 100 million vaccinations in 100 days, which is plausible, but that's only about a third of the U.S. population. To get into herd immunity, it'll probably take, 80% of the American population? So it may take all the way into the summer, depending if the vaccines keep on a steady pace or not. And the new versions of the new mutated versions of the coronavirus, I have heard that they're not as, like, the vaccines are now like 90%, 95% effective. The new variants are like 50, 60%. Definitely still worth getting the vaccine for, but this thing is evolving and getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was a plan, from the Trump administration and things are going well, things would probably be going well for movie theaters and movies in general. But, Biden's doing what he can, and it sucks that we have to talk about it, but how politics works out in America affects Hollywood, and that Hollywood affects the rest of the world.
Yeah, and and we don't even know. I mean, the movie theaters are kind of looking for a bailout, and they might get it. Especially, I'd just keep an eye on Paramount, because their CEO was a big Biden supporter and has been for a long time. So
I remember, wasn't there a movie studio, movie theater money in the stimulus that passed in December or something?
yeah, it was for indie theaters.
Okay. So it's an ongoing process. There is vaccines, and there is, it's getting going, and hopefully by the summer, we'll get a huge amount of people that have the vaccine, and it won't be, but it's still going to be a long thing. It's good. It's going to be months before we get back to a normal kind of society.
Yeah, and we have no idea if 3D may get jettisoned in theatrical release because they may decide it's something they can't keep people safe because glasses. I mean, that's a flashpoint to spread disease.
Yeah, are they going to really recycle them, or are they just going to, yeah, you have to bring your own, and or they only give you, you don't recycle them, and you just one time use and you toss it, which would be kind of sad because it's really wasteful. But
Yeah, well, a lot of theaters were doing that anyway. Uh, what what before the theaters here shut down, they were stopping 3D screenings simply because the glasses being handled from person to person to person would infect them before you even put them on.
yeah, I mean, that could be, basically they tell you bring your own 3D glasses, and I do have a pair. I have brought them home, so I do have some that I can take to the theater and that are the real 3D version. But
Hmm.
we'll have to see when the first 3D movie comes out of 2021. Which, what is that movie? Is that Godzilla now, or is it
I believe it. I believe it is Godzilla.
Isn't it, or Raya the Last Dragon? Is that a 3D? I think that's a 3D release. I think.
But is it even? But I think that's even been pushed back or rumored to be pushed back. There's a good chance it's going to be Godzilla, and hopefully it does get a 3D release somewhere.
Unfortunately, the last Godzilla movie didn't look that good in 3D.
Uh, I'm just uh, I'm just hoping there's some place closer than Vegas, because I live too far away. Chances are, even if it does play somewhere fairly close to me, I'm not going to be able to go because of my mother's situation. She's got a broken leg, and I pretty much have to wait on her hand and foot during quarantine.
I mean, even for me, there's the closest theater to see Wonder Woman was 150 miles, which is really far for a movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that is. Yeah, I mean, the days of me going to Canada to see Hong Kong movies have long passed. Shit, even if they did still have a Chinese theater, I couldn't get into the country because the borders closed.
now, what else is going on? So last year, Jake, I don't know if you remember this movie called Connected from Sony.
Uh huh. Yeah.
So it was originally supposed to come out in October, and then it went quiet for a
Uh huh.
long time. And we just saw one trailer for it, and
Uh huh.
the trailer was basically an animated cartoon where a whole family is like, oh, everyone's on their devices, everyone is on their phones or tablets. We need to have a family outing, and I was like, okay, and then robots attack.
Hmm. And now we're not only, and we're probably never going to see this in 3D.
So that movie kind of just vanished. Like it was supposed to come out in October and didn't happen. So then it just like we didn't get any new date for that. It didn't get released. And then apparently it got a name change, which I didn't even know about because I saw it said Mitchell and the Machines and got sold to Netflix. I saw that article and I was like, Mitchell and the Machines? That looks like Connected. And then clicked on the link and it said, all right, sometime it changed its name from Connected to Mitchell and the Machines, and now it's coming out on Netflix. So who knows if we would ever see that in 3D, like you said.
Hmm. Yeah, it's another Lord and Miller movie messed with. Oh well. I was looking forward to seeing it in 3D because their animated 3D stuff is awesome.
And they reportedly paid $100 million for this movie. Netflix.
Hey, it's a bargain. I mean, what God's Legendary wanted? I think Warner Brothers had to give them 250 million just to run Godzilla on HBO Max.
So the Mitchells versus the Machines. Um, when is it coming out? I'm not exactly sure. I don't have a date right now in front of me, but
Yeah, Netflix announced that they're putting out a movie every week, so yeah, I imagine this is going to be one of the movies they put up on there because yeah, they're going to go 52 new movies this year.
and so being that Netflix paid them $100 million for this, and it's going to be a Netflix exclusive thing. I see zero chance of this ever come out on Blu-ray or DVD.
Yeah, that's a. We'll just see, wonder if the foreign distribution rights are because I always hold out hope for a German 3D release.
Yeah. So I mean, it definitely had a lot of potential for 3D. Like a lot of different robots and stuff was really popping out of the screen. You could tell when they shot how they shot the scenes in the trailer that it could really have great 3D. But yeah, it is now going to be part of the Netflix movies, and um, Netflix does what Netflix wants to do. So we don't know when really is going to release. It might be a surprise release. They may announce it later. For the most part, I don't think they really announce that much stuff, do they? Like dates and stuff.
No, not really. I mean, they have lists and stuff, and there's a lot of YouTubers that put out coming on Netflix this month, and yeah, I find out stuff there, but they didn't connect it. Hasn't been mentioned. Like the only big thing they've mentioned is, oh, we're raising our prices, but we're going to give you a new movie every week.
Yeah. So we'll see when that comes out, but that not going to be a 3D movie that we know of, and it's it is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's keep going here. Now this is kind of a messed up story. So it's kind of two stories in one. Um, So we learned more about Justice League, the Snyder Cut, and that apparently it's going to be like a 4-hour movie now, which is just like killing me, man. 4 hours is a lot.
Well, if you're streaming it, you can always pause it and come back to it later.
True, but it's still a lot. That's more than the Lord of the Rings movie.
Just think of it as a Bollywood movie minus the music.
So we were hearing that Ray Fisher was very angry about how he was treated, and he very social about it and saying that he was treated in a negative way because he was black, and he wanted to make a big deal out of it. And eventually, Warner Brothers did eventually conclude that he was right, and he that they fired someone or they changed some policies or something like that, right, Jake?
Apparently, he was told one thing and they did something else. Yeah. I mean, Ray Fisher laid out his case, and I believe him. But looks like Walter Hamada's contract has been extended. Jeff Johns, nothing's been done to him, except he was removed off of something that I wasn't paying any attention to. Sorry, guys, but I can only pay attention to so much at once. And it looks like Ray Fisher is no longer in the Flashpoint movie.
Which it was supposed to be, from the last we heard, a Flash and Cyborg, which Ray Fisher played in Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a buddy movie, and now they're like, yeah, they're just gonna cut him out. And apparently, they're cutting out the whole character of Cyborg from Flash movie entirely. So, who the hell knows when that movie's coming out?
It's looking like it's going to go the way of Gambit. I mean, we don't even know if if the Cyborg character is going to be in the movie. Probably not. I figured something was up when they cast another actor to play Cyborg on Titans, which I haven't seen.
So apparently, it's still scheduled for November 4th, 2022, which is plausible. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I don't.
I guess we'll know then. We'll know if they postpone it again or eventually.
I mean, I think they were supposed to start filming like the week before COVID started hitting.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
this has been a damned movie for a long time.
Yeah, AT. The one thing's obvious: AT&T does not know how to run a movie studio.
Oh, it's been forever. I remember hearing that Warner Brothers was like debating about making a Wonder Woman movie for like 30 years. And they finally give it up and like make one, and then they love it, and um then Wonder Woman 84 came out and people were like, "Eh." So
Yeah, even I've thought about it because before I canned my HBO Max subscription, I won't get into the reasons why, other than too damn expensive and couldn't port my account over to another device. Um, but I rewatched it, and it's not an 8; it's a 7, and that's by rounding. And both of those scores are roundup.
So yeah, I mean, if they're taking out Cyborg from Flash movie, then
Hmm.
they're changing up the script, which means that I don't know what, if anything, they have shot, and I don't know what, if anything, they're going to shoot.
It
So
just it just sounds like they're gonna screw up Flashpoint again. So it looks like if you want a cinematic experience, the animated movie's the way to go.
and so okay, so just this 4 hour Snyder cut. Are you excited for that, or are you kind of, I'm done. I don't really care anymore.
Uh, I'm excited. I mean, Zack Snyder is one of those filmmakers. He's awesome, or oh my god, this is terrible. There's really not much in between. But when you don't mess with it, and he's done some amazing stuff. I mean, I love 300. Politics aside, I mean, it's a wonderful movie.
Now, the Snyder cut of Batman vs Superman, I think it's a superior movie. It's just
Mhm.
it's 3 hours long.
I've never had a problem with long movies. Uh, I guess it's because I grew up watching some Bollywood.
Yeah, I mean, there was rumors about the Snyder Cut being like broken off to become like a TV series or something instead of a movie, and they're like, no, it's going to be a 4 hour movie, and it's going to be, it's going to be a big deal. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I just can't believe all the people that seem to think that this means Zack Snyder's vision for the DCU is going to be come back or something. No, this is just a one-off, uh, and Zack Snyder's going to move on. I mean, and be happy. I mean, Warner Brothers is doing the right thing, letting him have his vision, which is something Warner Brothers is famous for doing, messing with a movie and then years later correcting the mistake. I mean, Exorcist, Blade Runner, Eyes Wide Shut. I can go on and on and on. Uh, they're famous for doing that.
Superman 2, Richard Donner cut.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's
Lethal Weapon series. It's also Donner.
so. I'm looking forward to it. I am, but 4 hours is just a lot, to sit down for. So we'll see.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's not. It's we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's not like I have to rush off anywhere.
True. All right. So we got some Spider-Man 3 set pick leaks. So it looks like this movie is going to be set in Christmas time, holiday season.
Home for the holidays.
Yeah, or Home Alone.
Yeah. And God, I hope half the rumors about this movie are not true, or it's going to be more crowded and messed up than the last Spider-Man 3.
So all the rumors are saying that this movie is going to be very much like a Spider-Verse live action with multiple Spider-Mans from multiple universes coming to have multiple villains, and it's I definitely Spider-Man movies, even if even the worst Spider-Man movie is still a pretty decent movie. I know people hate Spider-Man 3 or Amazing Spider-Man 2, but they're still decent movies. So I'm okay, even if this is a disaster, at least it'll be a decent movie, I think.
I don't think it's going to be a disaster. I mean, Kevin Feige's got too much. Well, he's going to have very little to do with this, so there is the possibility. I guess the telling thing will be as if Marvel doesn't let him put the Marvel tag in front of the movie.
Yeah, we'll see how that works. If I'm extra, I'm a big fan of these Tom Holland movies. So
Yeah, and John Watts, the guy who's directing these, looks like he's been tapped to do the Fantastic Four movie.
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I mean, I imagine something tells me though in the next Ant-Man movie, we're gonna get an introduction to a Fantastic Four character or characters.
Well, isn't the villain of the Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 supposed to be the
Kang,
yeah.
Kang a Conqueror. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking we're gonna see more than just Kang. Well, Kang is also an Avengers villain, so I wouldn't classify him as a Fantastic Four character. But with him in there, I would not be surprised if we see somebody like Reed Richards or Ben Grimm pop up, or maybe even I figure it's either going to be Ben Grimm or Reed Richards or both of them, or the possibility of we see a Victor Von Doom.
Oh, here's something. Changing subject altogether.
Ah,
I didn't put this in the show notes, but I'm just gonna bring it up because I need to talk about it. I need a rant. Um,
oops.
Apparently, Warner Brothers is gonna make a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory prequel. That's all about Willy Wonka. Ugh. No, bad. Don't do that. Why? How do you? No, you can't justify that. Why? Why would you make that movie?
Uh, haven't they learned there's only one Willy Wonka movie that's any good, and then there's one. Oh God, I got to talk about this. Warner Bros. Are you familiar with the cartoon Tom and Jerry?
Yeah, the Tom and Jerry and Willy Wonka combo.
Yeah, they made an animated, a full length feature of Tom and Jerry, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It is as messed up as you think it would be.
I mean, they tried to give a lot of backstory to Willy Wonka in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie that with Johnny Depp, and I just don't care. It's not a really a.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Willy the Gene Wilder version, which is I consider the only one worth watching, is like one of the greatest kid friendly slasher movies of all time.
Yeah, that scene in the boat is really messed up. If you like frame by frame that.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with the Oompa Loompas. I mean, I'm like going, is this a pro slavery movie?
So, to a degree, I'll give some defense to and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp because I did like some aspects of it more than the Wilder one. But overall, I do think the Wild one is way better because I like that version of Wonka a whole lot better than the insane Michael Jackson version of Wonka in Charlie.
There's just something about Gene Wilder. I mean,
I like that Charlie in the Chocolate Factory said no. He don't want to be part of that. And that's, yeah, that's a totally legit thing to say.
yeah. Now I just wish somebody at Warner said this about but they gonna, but studio's gonna recycle.
The Oompa Loompas being clones? No, that was terrifying. I don't know why they couldn't hire little people to do that. Why they needed to clone the same guy over and over again. No, that was creepy. But like the bratty little kid that was like about going into the TV, I think he was pretty on point. Better in this newer movie than the first movie. So definitely, there's like a mixed match of things that are better and worse, but still Wilder way better. Like Wilder, I'll give that maybe an 8 out of 10 or 9, and then the new one maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10. It's. But I don't care about Willy Wonka's past. I don't care. They try to put that in Charlie and Chocolate Factory. I didn't care. I don't care. He went to the jungles and got candy from the people, and I don't care. Why?
I think younger people don't care either. They want their own thing. They don't want to see recycled things of their grandparents' nostalgia and their pop culture. They want their own.
And didn't Charlie and Chocolate Factory not do that well? Box office that people were like, eh.
Well, I don't think. I remember Willy Wonka bombed at first. It took a long time before it became popular and caught on and stuff. Because it was pretty much made as an ad for Wonka chocolates. Because it's a real chocolate company.
So I think I see here that it made 475 million, which was the '05 version. Budget was 150, so with advertising, it made a profit, but barely. But it's like,
Yeah.
I just don't see the need to. I don't really care about how he got his candy. If Charlie and the Chocolate Factory gave me an indie condition, I don't care about his dad being a dentist or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if they have to absolutely recycle this, they should do it as a musical just remake the movie, go back to the Ron Dahl book, and just find some really quirky singer, and make a star out of him. But who gives, but I agree with you. Who gives a shit about a prequel?
Hey, give it to Moran, the writer of Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly. He could probably do something with it really interesting.
Lin Moran.
But if you're gonna do a prequel, he's a little too old.
So I would give that. I'm just saying, let Manuel Miranda write it and have it as a sequel. I think that could be cool because I'd really trust him as a writer because Hamilton's so fantastic. So I don't know about that, but all right. Now that's gonna be basically it for the show. We do have some extra content here. Now this extra content is for the patrons. So if you're not a patron, you can't listen. Hey, sorry, it is what it is. But that's gonna be it for us, unless you're a patron. And if you're a patron, continue on. Bye.
Bye.
Before this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Kano3D, Mr. Bengal 5, and Kevin Winter for your financial support on Patreon.com. So that's going to be it for this podcast. Thanks for listening. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Links are in the info box. If you want to send us listener mail, our email address is email3dortwo@gmail.com. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.